Morning guys, today I'm giving you guys a Q&A video all about blogging. It's the morning for me and I just woke up, so I've got a little pick me up here so that I am alive during this video, or throughout the video I should say. And I'm just going to basically be going through all your questions about blogging. If you remember, I'm splitting up the videos into beauty and style and blogging on one side because I didn't want to make one whole long video, so I figured let's split it up into two different videos. So today I'm going to tackle all the questions on blogging. So our first question is from Instagram. And it's from Nori Cool, and she says, what is the most challenging part about being a blogger and shopping for different textiles? Okay, this is two separate parts of my life. One part is shopping for textiles, that's my career, and being a blogger, well, being a blogger. Okay, so I'll start with the career bit first, and shopping for different textiles. I think the most challenging part about that for me is that I don't have the most knowledge about textiles. I am learning every day. Even when I studied fashion design at college, I mean, that was never my strong area, textiles, but I'm constantly learning, and I'm also surrounded by people who know a lot more. So if I ever have any questions about something, I'll ask a question, oh, what's this fabric called, and whatever. But I'm learning so much, so I'm learning every day. That's important. And then the most challenging part about being a blogger, well, I'd say balance. Being able to balance my work life with my blog life, that's an important thing, because a lot of the time I'll either be traveling for work, or it's a really hectic time for me in the workplace that it's really hard for me to do stuff relating to my blog or attend events. And I mean, there's not a lot of fashion related or blog events that happen in Durban, but even when they do, I really have to pick and choose what I attend, because I know that I have to prioritize and see, well, what's more important. If I've got a deadline here, can I really be going to this event and things like that? So it's all about timing and balance and making sure that you prioritize what is important and schedule things in advance and have your diary and planning and all of that. That's the most challenging part, is being able to manage that whole area of being a blogger and being a busy blogger, I should say. Yeah. Okay, Mrs. Kamala Zede asks, how do you stay inspired? I think for me, I stay inspired because I constantly have my goals in mind. Every single day, no matter what I'm doing, I'm thinking, well, goals, goals, goals. This is what I want out of life. This is what I want out of this year. This is what I want out of this month, before my birthday, whatever, you know. So I constantly have a vision in my head, and everything I do is then has that vision in mind, and that's how I'm constantly motivated. And I mean, I never have someone running behind me telling me, Brett, you need to do this, you need to do that. Even in the workplace, I know what needs to be done, and I always make sure that things are done because I'm just a self-motivated person. So yes, I think that's pretty much always having my goals in mind and wanting to achieve those goals, and that's what keeps me inspired. Okay, so Likey Asmal asks, okay, I get really confused with this. Is it Likey or is it Lakia? I get very confused, so forgive me if I've completely pronounced it wrong. Likey Asmal? Sorry if it's wrong. What advice would you give up and coming dashing designers and bloggers? Okay. Up and coming designers, what kind of designer are you? That's the question I want to ask. Because when you study fashion design, you can go into all different fields, but I'm a designer slash merchandiser in industry, and in the clothing industry. Gavin Raj is a designer. Completely different designers. So I think the most important thing I would give advice on is understanding what kind of designer you're going to be. Because if you think you're going to be Gavin Raja and you end up doing what I do, well, you're going to be sorely disappointed, because there's not a lot of creativity, there's a lot of admin and everything. It's not just creating beautiful dresses. There's fits and there's all of these things, and it's so admin, you know, it's focused on admin a lot of this role. So very different. So I'd say understand what you're going to be doing. And then what advice would I give to an up-and-coming blogger? Well, I would definitely say be yourself, be authentic. The market is so saturated that I think that if you're just going to go and copy what someone else is doing, then, well, we've all seen it. We've all okay, whatever. So I think, you know, even if you like fashion, that may not be your number one passion. Maybe you really like great at like cooking or something, and maybe you want to do a food blog or something, you know, like that. There's like so many different like areas that you could go into when it comes to blogging. So it's not necessarily creating a fashion blog, or even if you do want to do a fashion blog, maybe put a different spin on it, because maybe just putting personal style out there isn't what people want anymore, or that there's so many people that they're already following that the only reason they're going to follow you is if you're offering them something completely different and new. So AfriPride 1996 says, I love fashion but don't know where to start. I want to work with it. I did ask her to elaborate on the question because I didn't really, for me that wasn't clear enough as to what she wanted. So she says, as a career I love fashion but I want to start with myself. Where should I start? Yeah. So if you love fashion, you want to make a career in it, there's a million different things you can do within the fashion or clothing industry. You could be a designer, you can be a merchandiser, you can be a journalist, you can be a stylist, you could be a photographer. There's all those different options available to you. So I think just explore what options you find the most interest in, because maybe you'd need to study something or gain some experience or whatever that is. So I think just firstly figure it out where you want to be in fashion or clothing. That would be the most important thing. You know, I'd say if you want to start with yourself, I'd say appearance is the most important thing. And you know, while we all have different style, and I may not like your style or you may not like my style, it is a personal choice. But I still like, even if I can't relate to your style, as long as you put it together really well and you look good and you look polished and clean, like, you know what I mean, you just need to look complete, really, you know. I think that makes a difference. For me, I always laugh when I tell people this, but one of the things that changed my life was red lipstick. I put red lipstick on for the first time in 2011. It was towards the end. I had only bought it for Halloween as a French maid, and I needed the red lipstick. And I was like, wow, this is pretty awesome. And I started wearing it every day. And from there, like, I slowly changed my style. And but that was like the tipping point that sort of like got everything in motion, the domino effect from there. And ever since, I've just been constantly growing in myself. And I think that discovering something or who you are in terms of your personal style is such an important journey that we all need to go through. Because, like, honestly, if you see me from like 5 years ago, guys, it's like, no, even my makeup is completely different, and I'm like, I don't like that. But anyways, I think definitely figure out what your personal style is. Megan Yonkers asked, I want to start my own blog, but I'm feeling very confused on where or how to start. Any advice on getting started? Okay. Blogging in South Africa has become very saturated. I think, unfortunately, a lot of people start blogging for freebies. It is what it is, you know. And I think that unless you're coming to the table with something completely new and unique and authentic to who you are, I don't really see people having that much interest in it. Honestly, there's so many personal style blogs already that are really like great. Why are people gonna go to a new person sort of thing? But maybe if you do personal style with a spin on it, something that's unique to you, that might be, you know, something that people would find interesting. So when you ask like how to get started, I think my number one question would be is what is your blog about? So sort that out and get that out the way, and from there I think then your next step is obviously your Blogger versus WordPress and all those little details. But I think the most important thing is coming out with the perfect outline for what your blog is going to be about, and having that clear vision in mind. I think that's really important. And just a little side note, I've actually wanted to be doing a blogging 101 video, just to take you guys from step A to Z with blogging. Sorry, my throat is like dying. And just that I can answer every possible question you could have. So that is in the pipeline. And then Jade Kebby asks, what do you do for a living? Okay, I'm a designer merchandiser in the clothing industry. Very admin orientated role. I'm very lucky that I get to travel because of my job. I go on sourcing trips to China, and I source textiles and stuff, and I place stuff at factories and that sort of thing. And and I also go on training trips to the US, to Dubai and stuff, which is really fun. I'm hoping to go to London this year. I'm like dying for it. I really want to go. So yeah, that's what I do for a living. It's not like being a Gavin Raja, but it's cool and I really love it and enjoy it, and I've learned a lot about clothing and stuff from like working in the job. Then your next question is, what is it like being a blogger in South Africa? It's pretty cool being a blogger in South Africa. I think that South African brands are still sort of getting onto it. It's not as they still don't see as much value in us as international brands see in international bloggers, I should say. So we're getting there, but it's really fun and exciting. I think that had you asked someone like maybe in Cape Town what it's like being a blogger, they may have a different experience, but I'm in Durban, so I actually don't really get to interact with a lot of those people that often. Because okay, so Takira Adams asks, where do you get the strength from to deal with fashion drama queens? I actually don't deal with anyone like that. I think it's also got to do with the fact that I'm in Durban. There's not a lot of bloggers here and stuff, and I pretty much keep to myself, so I never have any issues with other people. So okay, so Pilili Magwaza asks, how do bloggers get paid? Okay, so this question, yeah, it's kind of interesting because I'll be very honest with you. I do not believe that many of the bloggers in South Africa are getting paid for what they're doing. However, there are ways you could get paid, because I get paid from what I do, and I treat my blog like a business. It is a business, and I make decisions based on money, based on relationships, based on what I'm getting or my readers getting, not necessarily monetary stuff, but what are we getting in the long run out of this partnership and stuff. So I'll give you guys a good example of something I just recently did. Smirnoff Ice, Double Black with Guarana. I worked with them in the month of December on their awesome Explore the Night project, and for X amount of money, which I can't reveal of course, I did blog posts, I did some ad space, and I did some social media stuff for them. So that was on Facebook and Twitter, where I was talking about them a bit and engaging with people about using this Explore the Night free cab service, and that's how I got paid by them. So I'm telling you, many of those people that you see on Instagram with a couple hundred likes or whatever and being featured here and featured there, I don't believe that all of them are actually making any money from their blogs. So that's something to keep in mind as well. You've got to be kind of like business savvy, and don't be afraid if people don't want to pay you for something. I feel nothing to say, okay, thank you so much, and move on with life. Not everyone wants to pay you, and they must also accept that if they want you to work with them, there's a certain standard or quality that they're going to get from what you're doing. So yeah, that is my answer to that question. Okay, Luzani Motobi asks, of all the cities you've seen through your blog or career, which is your favorite city and why? I'd have to say New York is my absolute favorite city. From the first time I went to New York, I just had this feeling like I could live here. And a friend of mine lives there, and I see her when I do travel to New York, and like she's always like, you love this place so much, why don't you just just move here? And I'm like, oh my god, I've got my career and everything and all this, like my life there. But I think that if there was one place I could actually live, it would be New York. It's the most dreamy, amazing place you've ever seen. It's like the movies, and the yellow cabs everywhere, and everything's so big and bold and bright, and I think, yeah, I love it. I can't even like tell you how much I love New York.